The courtroom was packed. The air smelled of polished wood, old paper, and tension. I could feel the eyes of everyone in the room, relatives, neighbors, even strangers who had come to watch the family drama unfold. My dad was pacing, red-faced, his voice booming louder than I thought possible inside such a solemn space. "She is an embarrassment," he yelled, pointing at me. "I cannot believe she would." "Enough," the bailiff said quietly, but it didn't stop him. I sat at the plaintiff's table, hands folded, trying to keep my composure. I knew my father had a temper, but this was different. This was public. And it was personal. Hey! If you enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the bell. Your support means everything and helps me keep creating. Thank you so much. "He has humiliated me for years," I whispered to my lawyer. "And now he's acting like this in front of everyone." My lawyer nodded calmly, her eyes never leaving the judge. She had warned me, keep quiet, let the evidence do the talking, and don't get drawn into arguments. My dad continued, "I cannot allow her to." And then the judge leaned forward slightly, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Mr. Last Name," he said, calm but sharp. "Please explain why you believe your daughter is an embarrassment." The courtroom fell silent. Even my father froze mid-gesture. His anger faltered for the first time. She has caused shame to our family," he stammered.
"Everyone knows."
The judge interrupted, voice firm. "Do you have evidence for that claim, or are you here to make accusations based on emotion?"
A murmur ran through the room.
My heart pounded, but this was the moment I had been waiting for. The judge wasn't letting his words slide. He wasn't letting him dominate the narrative. I looked at my lawyer.
"Stigab me de taini snod."
My turn was coming. I had all the documentation, records, messages, and witnesses that showed how my father had humiliated me over the years, publicly and privately. The judge leaned back slightly and said something that made my father visibly swallow. "Mr. Last Name, accusations alone don't carry weight in this court. We need facts, evidence, truth." For the first time, I felt a shift. The room that had felt suffocating just moments ago suddenly seemed like a place where fairness might actually exist. My father's voice wavered. His fury hadn't disappeared, but the power dynamic had changed. I was about to speak, and I wasn't going to be interrupted, because the judge had already signaled the truth mattered more than anger. And in that moment, I knew this was the turning point of the entire case. The courtroom was silent, the kind of heavy silence that makes every whisper feel amplified. My father's face was red, his hands trembling slightly as he struggled to maintain control. He had built his argument on emotion, anger, and intimidation, assuming that the weight of his authority would be enough. But the judge wasn't buying it. "Mr. Last Name, do you have anything to support these claims of embarrassment?" the judge asked again, leaning forward, his gaze sharp. My father stammered, looking around as if someone would rescue him. "Everyone knows. She has made mistakes, bad decisions. She's publicly." "Publicly what?" the judge cut in, calm but firm. "Please cite specific incidents and evidence, or your statement is just opinion. The court does not adjudicate emotion, it adjudicates facts." I felt a surge of hope. This was exactly what I needed. My father had always relied on theatrics, shouting, and intimidation to get his way. But here, he had no power.
Evidence mattered, not volume.
My lawyer leaned in and whispered, "Now's your moment."
Present the documentation.
I took a deep breath, standing as my father flinched. I had spent weeks preparing this case. Every humiliating text message, every public insult he had made, every time he had tried to undermine me in front of family or neighbors, it was all documented. "Your Honor," I began, voice steady, "I have brought proof of repeated behavior that has humiliated me publicly and privately over the years. I am prepared to submit messages, witness statements, and documented incidents." The judge nodded for me to continue. I handed over a folder to the court clerk, who passed it to the judge. He flipped through the papers, nodding as he skimmed through. I could see my father's expression shift from anger to panic. He had counted on bluster, not evidence. His strategy was crumbling in front of his own eyes. The judge looked up. "Mr. Last Name, are you disputing the authenticity of these documents?" My father opened his mouth, but no words came out. He looked around the courtroom, searching for support, but there was none. Even the relatives who had come to watch silently were now staring at him, some shaking their heads in disbelief. Your Honor, I said, voice firmer now. These are real, verifiable, and chronologically documented. They demonstrate a pattern of behavior that has caused me emotional distress and public humiliation. I am not making accusations without basis. I am presenting evidence. The judge leaned back, folding his hands. Thank you. This court will review the documentation carefully. I appreciate the clarity and substantiation you've provided. Mr. Last Name, your claims must be equally substantiated, or they will carry no weight in the decision. My father opened his mouth again, but I noticed the hesitation, the uncertainty. His authority was gone, replaced by the cold logic of law and evidence. He had underestimated the system, underestimated preparation, and underestimated me. After what felt like hours, the judge addressed the room. This court prioritizes evidence over volume. Personal attacks, yelling, or emotional intimidation have no bearing here. Moving forward, the matter will be evaluated solely on documented incidents, witness testimony, and verifiable facts. I sat down, heart racing, but calm. For the first time in years, I felt a real shift, not just in the courtroom, but in my life. My father's shouting no longer had the power to define me. The law, fairness, and truth had taken its place. That day, I learned that no matter how loud someone yells, the truth speaks louder. And in this courtroom, with a judge who valued evidence over theatrics, my father could no longer control the narrative. I wasn't just defending myself. I was reclaiming my dignity. And for the first time, I realized that sometimes the people who try to shame you are powerless when faced with truth. The courtroom wasn't just a place for legal decisions. It was a place where justice, fairness, and preparation could outmatch anger, intimidation, and empty accusations. And I had all three in my corner. The judge looked directly at my father.
Without evidence, your accusations carry no weight.
The room went silent. My father's anger faltered, replaced by shock. For the first time, his yelling couldn't control the story. I realized then, truth and preparation outweigh volume and intimidation. My dignity had been reclaimed, and the courtroom had seen it all.